Okay. Let's take a look at the classic type real quick before we end this tutorial. Yes. Okay, so here we are in the classic controls. It says here, classic controls, huh? It takes time to get used to them. But they open up your options in a fight. Movement number 1, walking. Pressing left and right on the controller or the arcade stick will let you move in that direction. You can either walk forward or backwards. To start, walk over to where I am. Good. You have taken the first step towards becoming a fighter. Movement number 2, dashing. Pressing forward or backwards on the arcade stick or the pad twice in the same direction can perform a dash. Dashing lets you cover more ground than regular advancing or retreating. Try dashing to my location. So we're going to dash back. We're going to dash forward. Well done. Movement number 3, jumping. Pressing up forward or up backwards on the pad or the arcade stick will perform a jump. You can jump straight up or to either side. Let's see you do it. Good. Jumps are excellent for moving while avoiding the opponent attacks. But don't get careless. If you jump around too much, it will become predictable. Sooner or later, you will get hit or, anti-aired. Normal attacks. All right, now you know how to move. It's time you learned how to attack. First, we'll start off with the normal attacks. You can perform attacks of different strengths depending on the button that is pressed. Pressing either X or A on the Xbox pad, square or X on PlayStation pad, or on the arcade stick, it would be light punch or light kick is the light attacks. These are weak but quick attacks. Remember, they have less frames, so they might be 3-frame or 4-frame moves. They have quicker recovery. These are weak and quick attacks. There's no need to hold back. Check it out. Pressing either Y or B on the Xbox controller, triangle or circle on the PlayStation pad, or medium punch or medium kick on the arcade stick will perform a medium attack. These are well-balanced attacks that are easy to use. You'll understand best by trying them out yourself. In addition to that, the medium attacks are especially medium kick and crouching medium kickers, usually some of the better, more long-range neutral buttons to have for a character. See, so this has some great range to it, and it's relatively fast. It's better than a roundhouse or a fierce punch, even though Luke's moving forward. It has some great range. So here we are. Boom. Pressing right shoulder or right trigger will perform the heavy attack. On the pad, on the arcade stick, it's just heavy punch or heavy kick. They will leave you open to counterattack, but make up for it by dealing good damage. Now give me your best shot. I can feel the strength in your attacks. Pressing down will cause your character to crouch. Attacking in this state will cause your character to assume a low profile while they perform crouching attacks. Okay, so don't forget, you can get overhead hit in this state, but they're just trying to teach you crouching attacks. That's a nice anti-air for Luke. You can also perform your sweeps, hitting crouch, heavy kick. So, here we go. Boom. You got your crouching attack there. Finally, we have jumping attacks. Some of the jumping attacks can also be cross-up jumping attacks. If you press up on the D-pad or arcade stick and go airborne, then you can attack. So these are the basics. Don't forget them. Instead, devote yourself to tempering them. And now we're into blocking. Oops. There. Let's give you the rundown on defense. There's two types of blocking: standing blocking and crouch blocking. If you press back or down back, you can block, basically, right? On the D-pad or the joystick. If you press back while you're standing, that is a standing block. If you are pressing down back, then you're doing a crouch block, right? So we are going to block Ryu's attacks. Okay, so we blocked that overhead. Nice. Feels better than taking damage, doesn't it? Standing blocks can guard against any attack that aren't aimed at your feet. For attacks that standing blocks can't defend against, there's a crouching block. So basically what you're doing is you're pressing back opposite of wherever your opponent is. So we're going to press down back to block the low. There we go. We just blocked the sweep. Good job there. You did it. Crouching blocks can't defend against the overhead or jumping attacks, but can deal a lot of other attacks. A good defense starts with the crouching block. Throws. If you can't break through your opponent's blocks, you can use throws to deal damage instead. At a close range, press X and A on the Xbox controller. On a PlayStation controller, it's going to be square and X. On the arcade stick, it's going to be light punch and light kick for the normal throw. Now get close and throw. Now remember, of course, the closer that you get, the more vulnerable you are at receiving hits. And if you miss the throw, that's going to also leave you open because of how negative you're going to be. So it's best to try to land the throw. You don't want to whiff too many throws because it's very unsafe. If you think you're about to get thrown, answer back with a throw escape by pressing X plus A or square and X on PlayStation or light punch and light kick on the arcade stick. Check your timing and tech the throw. Well defended, throws are a great option for close range offense. Plus, with the hard knockdown, you can get a mix-up over that, which means the person isn't really going to know what to expect while they're waking up off the ground. Keep it in mind whenever your opponent is nearby. Special moves. Next up, let's talk about special moves. Assuming that you're playing as Luke, input quarter circle forward punch. You'll fire off his special move, which is the Sandblast. Give it a shot. So we'll do a light one.
Sandblast! 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 Sandblast!
Medium.
Sandblast!
Hard. Sandblast is an effective attack to use from a distance. Next, try inputting forward, down, down, forward punch. So that is the Shoryuken motion. You'll get a different special move, the rising uppercut.
Fighting uppercut! Fighting uppercut! Sunblast!
Oops.
Fighting uppercut!
There we go. Rising uppercut is an attack that's very effective against jumping opponents. Different special moves work better in different situations. Get a feel for each one. Once you've practiced for a while, you'll be able to fire them off without even thinking. Super arts. Let's talk about the super arts and check out that super art gauge at the bottom of the screen. The super art gauge can be filled up to 3 levels as indicated by the numbers beside the gauge. If you have at least 1 level in the bar, you can perform a super art. Try performing a level 1 super art, which you may have already guessed uses
Getting
1
cold feet?
stock of super art gauge. Okay, so Luke's level 1 super art is it looks like sandblast, which is quarter circle forward punch. So
Give me a break!
So that is his level 1. Next up are level 2 super arts. Luke's level 2 super art has short range, which means you have to get closer to the opponent if you want it to connect. Use Luke's level 2 super art with. Basically, it's down. Hadouken motion backwards. So let's take a look here. Oops, wrong one. There we go. So you can access that with 2 bars, and it gives you a cinematic move. Now for the big one, the level 3 super art. This is every fighter's trump card. As expected, it uses up all 3 stocks of the super art gauge. So you're going to hit quarter circle forward, kick. And that will activate Luke's level 3 super art. Now here's the interesting thing about all of this, right? So at the bottom of the screen, it says here you have 3 levels. So say you want to use level number 1 and level number 2, okay? You don't want to do 3. The only difference is that you can do quarter circle forward. You don't press kick, you press punch. He'll only go down 1 level. If you want to do his level 2 right after that, do quarter circle backwards punch, and then he'll use them all. He'll use the last 2. So it's nice that these are all different inputs to get these things active. So here we go. Quarter circle forward, and the kick. Here we go.
Too slow!
And then you get a second cinematic special move. Remember that the super art gauge fills up whenever your attack hits or you're being attacked. Never forget you have something like this up your sleeve. Okay, so now to the drive system here. Alright, drive gauge. The 6-bar display shown here is known as the drive gauge. This indicates a fighter's concentration
Getting
and
cold feet?
energy level. Utilizing this gauge lets you perform unique attacks. Okay, so for starters, we're going to look at two basic uses of the drive gauge. First off is drive impact. Press right shoulder and right trigger on the pad, or hard punch and hard kick at the same time on the arcade stick to perform a powerful attack. Okay, now according to Capcom, StreetFighter.com, the drive gauge is going to cost 1 bar. It's a powerful strike that can absorb an opponent's incoming attack. It has 1 frame of armor.
Nervous?
Performing this on an opponent backed into the corner will induce a wall splat, even if they block the attack. So we're going to walk Ryu over to the corner here. And we're going to test it out. Okay, ready? Here you go. Now, that crumple right there will give you time to get an additional attack, right? Drive impacts can absorb 2 attacks from the opponent, but there are some exceptions when you're in trouble. Use the drive impact to break through the attack. We talked about this a little bit earlier. There's nothing wrong with, as soon as you see your opponent doing a drive impact, you drive impact right back. It's sort of like an automatic counter. Now what you could do is you could try to parry it. You could try to neutral jump or jump forward. So drive impact have unique characteristics. They can break a cornered opponent's block. Try it out in a real fight. Now I'm curious just to see something here. Okay, we're gonna put Ryu in the center of the screen and yeah, see now he didn't crumple there. He staggered, but he didn't crumple. You could still dash in and get a combo after that. So let's put Ryu in the corner. And here we are. So while I'm blocking near the end of the stage, press the trigger buttons on the controllers, or it will be hard punch and hard kick on the arcade stick to press to perform the drive impact. So here we go. Okay, there's the crumple. See how the opponent's defense just crumples? Whenever you have someone on defense in the corner, drive impact is a good option. Next, I'll teach you about the drive parry. This is performed by pressing and holding down Y and B at the same time for a powerful defense tool. Try to defend my attacks using the drive parry. Y plus B on the Xbox pad is medium punch, and medium kick on the arcade stick, and on PlayStation controller it's going to be triangle and circle. So here we go. And it's going to slowly melt away your gauge bar up at the top of the screen. So you want to also sort of watch that a little bit too. Now, according to Street Fighter 6 website, they say that you can automatically repel an opponent's attack and replenish drive when performed successfully. Perform a perfect parry by parrying just before an opponent's attack hits you. Alright. So it's saying here that they're effective in standing and crouching attacks. A successful drive parry will replenish your drive gauge. That's like a perfect parry, right? When you're on your heels, and don't know what to do, look at your drive parry. While drive parries are powerful, they can't defend against throws. While I'm performing a drive parry, press X and A at the same time to throw me. So we're gonna, actually I'm curious to see with burn out there. Yeah. So we're gonna go over there and press light punch and light kick. On the arcade stick, on Xbox, it's gonna be X and A, and on PlayStation, it's going to be square and X. Whoops.
How's this?
Boom. Got him. Ooh. A perfect parry is the result of performing a drive parry the moment an opponent's attack hits you. This is an invaluable tool for the counter game. Practice and make it a part of your everyday arsenal. So, the perfect parry will repel the attack. It's still susceptible to throws. Okay? Oh, wait a second here. There it is. Okay. Trading drive impacts. Drive impact is this powerful tool for any fighter. So when the opponent uses them, there is a good way of dealing with them that you should remember. You can use the drive parry to defend against a drive impact. Try to defend against reuse drive impact by hitting medium punch and medium kick on the arcade stick, Y and B on the Xbox pad, and on the PlayStation pad, that's going to be triangle and circle. Okay.
Getting cold feet?
Whoop, the hit. Okay. So we just spoke about this a little bit earlier too. When you see Ryu starting to move forward from that drive impact, that's when you want to try to hit your parry button. Okay, it'll help with the timing for the perfect parries a little bit better. If you've been cornered in a fight, you can bet your bottom dollar that your opponent will try to hit you with the drive impact. Remember, drive impacts are even more scary because in the corner, you get the wall bounce into a crumple. Crumples lead to mix-ups, right? Because you're trying to wake up off the ground. That is when you can try to predict what they're going to do with the drive parry. So you could try to, you could try to drive parry that, neutral jump it, jump over his head. There's a couple of different options there. Of course, a good defense is a good offense. So you can counter a drive impact with one of your own. Timing is harder than using the drive parry, but it can lead to some big damage. Basically, as soon as you see your opponent activate the drive impact, you activate yours. So, let's give you some practice right now. React to my drive impact with one of your own. And remember, that's the triggers on the right-hand side. On the arcade stick, it's going to be hard punch and hard kick. Okay, so here we go. Oh, shoot, I parried it. Wait a second here. That wasn't a bad parry, though. Okay. As soon as you see Ryu or your opponent starting to move forward, that's when you're going to press hard punch and hard kick or your trigger buttons. When you're in the corner, always be ready to deal with the opponent's drive impact. If you sense it coming, you can also try jumping forward or neutral jumping out of trouble. Remember too, if you're in burnout and somebody is doing a drive impact on you, they can get the stun. So it's that dangerous spot to be in. Causes burnout. There you go. Drive impact and drive parry are great uses of the drive gauge, but continuous use will drain the gauge. If you don't drain it completely, you will be unable to use them for a period of time. So if you see underneath reuse life bar there, he has no gauge at all, and it flashes empty. His stance changes. Your opponent, if you are in burnout, is more plus, and you are susceptible for getting stunned if someone drive impacts you near the wall. So, when your drive gauge is empty, you'll enter burnout. If the opponent hits you with a drive impact while you're cornered, you'll be stunned and unable to move. Let's take a look and see how this works. Okay, so there's Ryu. We're going to hit him. There you go. You get the wall splat, and now you have time to do something more optimal, like a combo. When a fighter is in burnout, they can still be stunned, even if they block a drive impact. Remember, chasing someone into the corner gives you more chances to attack, and it's better playing out of the corner or more towards the center of the screen. Playing in the corner is much more difficult to do. Battle end conditions. Let's go over the rules of engagement. The gauge at the top of the screen displays your vitality. On the left is player 1, and on the right is player 2. Get hit with the attack, and the vitality will drop. When it reaches 0, there is a knockout. Rounds have time limits. No one scores a knockout within the time limit, the round ends. So not only are you playing against your opponent, and they might be zoning you out with fireballs, a strong neutral game, you might be chasing them around, but you're also playing against the clock. The clock will count down the rounds, and then if you can't have more life than your opponent, then you're going to be stuck and lose the round. If the round ends with no one scoring the knockout, the fighter with the most vitality is declared the winner. Each fight has a set number of rounds. Whoever reaches the required round victories is the first to win the entire fight. Now let's put what I've taught you to the test. This is a practice fight, so give it everything.
Too good.
All right. Good fight. If you're aiming for the top. In the fighting grounds, you will find a tutorial. Use this to learn various and more powerful techniques. Don't be hasty. Take your time, get stronger little by little, and go at your own pace. So that was the classic type of the review for the more traditional button layout for Street Fighter. Yes. Well, that was very exciting. Let's take a look here real quick.
We currently have a player on a winning streak.
So here we are in the virtual arcade room, right? If you look to the bottom left-hand side of the screen, that arrow is where you are going to be inside of the room. Okay.
The featured player's win streak has been stopped.
So the red dots here are arcade cabinets that are busy. The green ones are ones that you can sit down at.
The featured player's win streak has been stopped.
Or the ones also that are gray are ones that are completely open.
We currently have a player on an